Welcome viewers to Heat 5 of the Manly 16-foot Skiff Club Championship. Coming to you from a very bright blue sunny day here on Sydney Harbour, not much breeze. Joining me in commentary today, I have my good old mate Paul McKenzie back on board after jumping into on board the fire, stopping to help them out. How'd that go for you, Paulie?
That was an interesting day.
Yeah.
First bit of breeze we had all year, and they got the fat kid on the boat. And, my fitness let them down a little bit, but it was good fun, some good rides, good jumping on with the young guys and trying to help them out in any way that I can.
It's a good thing. Manly Skiff Club this year has introduced pretty much so all the top guys got to jump on with some of the new up-and-comers, and the 13 guys go out there coaching them, and it's bringing them along a lot quicker.
Yeah.
We haven't really had the kindness of a weather to start the season. We've had pretty much so black westerlies each day.
Yeah, or sick easterlies.
Sick easterlies, as we're seeing there on screen now. It's not an illusion. It's Balmoral just there in the background. We believe they're going to be setting up on a compass bearing today. We just got one race today, being Heat 5 of the club championship. Yeah. And you've been looking at the weather ops for the last 20 minutes on and off, Paul. I've been noticing. What are you seeing up and down and around?
Yeah. Well, all the way down the coast, we've got like a bit of a southeaster push through, and then we've just everywhere seems to be going to a bit of east-southeast and just dropping down to about 8 to 10 knots, which is pretty much what we're seeing out in front of us at the moment. It's a tricky course to try and fit in here. Where we're set up at the moment, we'll be looking at a top mark up around under South Head, and should be a very, very tricky day. Good day to keep your head out of the boat, I think.
Good day to be on the camera cat, Paulie.
Oh, even better day to be on the camera cat.
So you know him better than anyone, Ruffy, who was just there on screen before. This is his sort of weather. He loves this weather, right?
No.
Oh, at least he's got Gussie there to
Yeah,
try and keep him calm.
Gus is pretty good at giving instruction, so I think we'll be hearing quite a lot from him. But they've got Matty Stenner back on the boat today again, which is good for them. I hear he's just done a bit of damage to Comanche this morning. Bit of oil running through the boat, I hear.
Yeah, the Bird Island race is on today, and they didn't get too far out the heads and blew up a major hydraulic component apparently. So
so I think Matty was quite happy to get over here and jump on a 16 instead of having to try and figure that one out.
I don't think he'd be part of the maintenance program, would he?
Oh, I think he likes to think he does something.
Rightio. Well, while we're having a look around here, should we maybe have a look at the overall standings and where we're up to at the currently? So currently without a drop, you got Moon and Yachts, Ruffy and the boys leading the club championship on 5 points. Then you got Red Pumps Red, young Tyler Dransfield. He is becoming quite the revelation, Paulie. Second on 10 points.
He's doing a great job, isn't he?
Yep. And then Botany Access, well, says Chris Thomas there, but we all know it was Jared and Brent that got him there.
Yeah, Tickets has been telling him for all week.
And then fourth, Red Pumps, fifth, Typhoon. Typhoon's got a couple of firsts up its sleeves. So when the drop coming in,
they're looking really nice. Once the drop comes in, so the drop will come in after 5 races. This is Heat 5, but we've had one abandoned.
Yeah,
so
any news of when they're going to resell that, Paulie?
I'm not sure. They'll probably fit in at the end of the season. They'll do a double-up race or something like that, probably on a normal point score race.
Yep.
They should be able to squeeze it in. Leading up to Christmas now, I don't think they've got time to try and put one in. They've got the States coming up and a few things like that.
Yep.
And, you know, people seem to disappear at December a little bit with holidays and work functions and so forth.
Yep.
So, you know.
And that was Musto just there on screen. Hugh Stoddard's first season in the 16s. He's a very accomplished sailor, but he's currently 8th in the club championships.
Every time we've been out here watching him, they seem to get round the top mark the first time in a very good position and then just sort of fade back through a little bit. Probably a little bit of boat handling and stuff like that, but you can tell they're figuring it out and they'll jag a good result soon, I reckon.
Yep, and there's one of the young teams from Manly, Bartley Constructions, Nath Lilly, Jess Lilly and Tom Wormsley.
Good to see we got 2 on the wire. Not quite stretching out, but, you know.
Paulie, those 2 would weigh about as much as your or my leg that are out on wire, mate. That's not fair. You know what it's like on days like today with you and me. We'd be cowering, just going, no, we don't want to go anywhere near a boat.
We're just panning around here to get a few of the other boats.
And there's the mighty company, Sutek.
Yeah, the young boys on the Sutek. I saw them out doing some training this week. They got a nice, went out on Tuesday, I think. Nice nor'easter blowing through.
And they went out last night.
As well.
A little sneaky one last night. They were seen out last night. So
yeah, so 2 out twice during the week's pretty good for those boys. I think Steve-O's been putting a bit of pressure on them. So
yeah, and they'd be disappointed with how their clubby's going so far, Paulie, with them sitting down in 10th place.
Yeah.
You know, they're obviously expecting a lot more this season, and
they progressed quite well through last year. I know their goal last year was trying to get in the top 10 at the big regattas.
It was all when Josh took them to Mount Panorama that the wheels have fallen off the campaign since that day. And then in the background there you got Imey, and
got the rock star on board today.
Got the rock star of all rock stars on board today. James Doran is making a guest appearance on the Imey.
A few extra kgs when Doz puts his wallet on the boat.
Yep. So he's recently married.
Recently married, yeah.
And you know, that's his playground in the background there. That's where Doz sells real estate up in Bosman. So
Doz can be a special on days like this. He's known to be a little bit deep and then go for a flyer out the wrong direction and just somehow pop out first half the time.
Never known him to do that once in my life, Paulie.
Oh, I think there was one race down in Illawarra once it happened, didn't it, Jimmy?
I'll tell you what, that was Rob's call. It wasn't Doz's, so I'm not giving him any credit.
I mean, Doz tells us it's him.
Oh, Doz will tell you anything. It's whether you believe it or not.
Yeah, who would think going hard right in a nor'easter at Illawarra puts you out the front?
Yeah. No, we went down and seen Haas. Popped in, paid our admission, had a look at the planes, then jumped back on the boat and still beat you up there. So I don't know what you blokes were doing.
Luckily, I had that year off.
As you can see, there's one of the old great Manly ferries, which will they'll play a part in the Nationals coming up between the 7th and the 14th of January, right here from Manly, and we'll be live streaming every day from out here on beautiful Sydney Harbour. Hopefully we have nice weather like this, just a bit more breeze.
Bit more breeze.
And big Wednesday for the big swell to invite the boys from Belmont down, and we'll have a sou'easter that day. What do you reckon, Paulie?
That's what we want. We love seeing the Belmont boys out here in the sou'easter, a bit of swell.
They love it.
They love it. You know, they wake up knowing the Nationals are at Manly. All that they're thinking about is looking forward to a big sou'easter so that they can practice nosediving.
And they, at the club this year for the Nationals, there'll be a live site which we'll be live streaming back to, bar and drinks and food and everything all set up there. Obviously 100 years of the Manly club in existence. That's in February. So There'll be another big special day. I think they're working on getting the vintage 18 footers up from Kirribilli for the morning, and then the skiffs will feature in the afternoon and try and get a lot of the old faces back to the club.
Yeah.
I think by memory it's a ticketed event. Tickets will be going on sale shortly. And there's red pumps of Bruce Savage, Greg Windus and Jay Harris. So they're currently in fourth with the second team leading them.
Yeah. The young bloke's still touching up the sponsor, which is always good to see. We can see there's still a bit of pressure in that chute. You know, we're not in a full driftathon out here, which is good. We're going to be, boats are moving through the water quite nicely. Just see here, it's light enough for Jay to be running around the front though. So, nice smooth drive.
Yep. Seen when I was walking home yesterday, I didn't go to the club or anything, Paulie, but seen Baz down there madly grinding away at the heel of that boat there on screen.
Gave it some special, his little magic touch.
Yep.
It's always scary when he gets the angle grinder out.
Mate, he was quite good. He was down there for a few hours sorting out a few of the guys, and there's one of our 13-foot skiffs. And that's, who's that one?
Quite see the number on it just yet.
Is that the Abaco?
Abaco, so they've got a change of crew today. They've got Oliver Ross on with Zach Brackenby steering.
Yep, they were out nice and early, so
yeah,
trying to get a feel for the boat, which is great.
It's been nice this week. I've got a job in Manly at the moment. I've been able to see in the Arvos, there's been quite a few of the 13s out there, putting in a bit of time.
Yeah, as I said, like Jess Isles, who's off Capital Brewing, she was actually in one of the 13s during the week.
That's good.
As I said, this mentor program that they've introduced here at Manly is reaping dividends.
Yeah.
Like the 13 kids at Manly are quite green, quite new to the class, and finding them a bit of a handful, especially, as I said, we've had most days of around or thereabouts of 20 plus knots. So, it's a bit of a baptism of fire. And there's Jess on screen with Andrew Isles and
Ed Rigby, the brother and sister.
Yep.
So I always find it very interesting when siblings sail together. I've tried it once or twice with my little brother. It didn't work out too well.
No?
I'm pretty sure the first time he jumped off the boat and swam over to the coach boat and said, "I'm never jumping on a boat with you again." That was back when I think we were 10 and 8, so... So we just got everybody now sort of coming up, working their way out of Manly, putting a chute on just to check everything's right, and coming down to this start, just down off Dob Road near the Bommy. There's our mark boat
So
with red pumps in the background.
that's red pumps red. Post-payment signals have just sounded.
And just there to the left, there's the Mighty Fire stopping.
Mighty little fire truck. Was out last night training. Thanks to Malcolm Page for jumping on last night and taking the boys under his wing.
It's a pretty good mentor to have come out and give you a bit of a hand, isn't it?
Yeah, he's now I had to jump in to go and undo all the hard work you put in. Paul, mate, still thanks very much for the other week. It was a hard one for you. So.
That's a nice puffy northerly.
Yeah.
Just what you need when you haven't sailed in here. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul's paying us a lot of money to not put some photos up.
I was just very happy that I still fit into my gear, to tell you the truth.
So there's Cunningham's on screen. Nick Connor, Alex Chittenden and Michael Charles.
The boys coming together this year, they've been doing extremely well. And this kind of weather does suit Nick. He's sort of...
Doing well. They're in 15th in the club championship, Paulie.
Well, the ones that I've seen, they've looked all right.
Yeah, they're good at, as Chit's just alluded to, they're great in every race except for a clubby.
Well, they're just saving them all up for the Nationals.
Well, last week, 2/3 for the Cunningham boys.
Yeah.
We weren't streaming that, but...
I heard the second race last week was very close finish between top 4 boats. Almost throw a blanket over them, couldn't you?
Yep, there's the 2 red pumps. One on the right is red pumps red. Tyler, Chris and Jackson.
Yeah, some good youth in there with a bit of experience up the front and a lot of experience in the middle.
A lot. So what have we got on the back of the starters boat there? We've got a 4 laps, so L4 mean a leeward finish, 4 laps.
Yeah.
For the 16s and an L3 for the 13s.
We got them set up on
bearing of 120. Where's that taking us, Paulie?
I think it's just up under South Head, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon I'll be looking at the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coming around on the compass here.
Which will be an interesting one. We've got to run out tide today. So we're going to have a lot of water running out from the harbour, as well as pushing up from Middle Harbour. So where the tides join together, we'll sort of be shooting them out to sea, but, you know, it'll be interesting. Not a day where I'd want to be calling tactics, Jimmy.
Mate, we get them right all the time, right here on the camera cat. Don't you worry about that, Paulie.
What were we saying? I said which way I'm going to go is the same way as the Typhoon today.
Yep. Yep. It's the only way to do it. There's the Muppet Show of Suitec. The Wild Boys.
So we're getting...
There's Georgia Clancy with Jeff Little and Kurt Mitchell jumping in at late notice.
Yeah. Poor Alana went down with the dreaded COVID yesterday. She's chosen to stay at home and not come and spread it around.
So, bit of smack talk going on behind the camera boat.
Oh.
There's the protagonist right there on screen, the Typhoon and the Moonin.
Yeah, that Typhoon looks like it's got a bit of new gear on it too, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
New main and new jib on that thing. We're seeing everybody's got their big jibs on today, right out to the front.
We wouldn't, like, where they rig up in Manly, Paulie, there was barely a breath of air. Like,
No.
So, you know, 100% you'd be on this one. And
I mean, we used to change down to the second jib a lot earlier.
Yep.
But, you know, they're cutting these bigger ones a little bit flatter now, so you can carry them through to about 12 knots quite comfortably. And then after that, you're sort of just dragging it around a little bit, and they like to change down.
Just like the tuck of that boat dragging around it on the screen.
Oh, Rob never.
I love you, Doz.
It is looking a little bit stern down, that boat today.
There's Mal Page rejoining the Typhoon up the bow with Simon Hoffman, and Nathan Wilmot on helm. The number 2 A team, basically. Because Bretto's due back, I believe, sometime soon.
So you're going to come down and sail a few races down here?
You'd hope so. He's still recovering. So from group chats that I've had a look at, he's not far away from coming back. But I know Mal was a bit nervous of jumping in with Simon, as whether he'd still have a job left. So
I'm pretty sure he'll always have a job.
yeah. A new main there on the fire stopping. Bit of homework to do with the top batten locky. Just yank the canos on and off. That'll fix it.
So when did they get that new main, Jimmy? Is it this
rolled out of the signage shop yesterday? So.
And has the master come and done a bit of work on it yet? Done his left rounds, or is that all?
He's he's like Paulie. He came over yesterday. I was helping him rig the boat, and I'm going like, "What about this here?" And he goes, "Just pull more canos on." And I'm like, "So what? We just got to keep pulling canos on until it looks good." Like,
Yeah.
But no, they Baz has worked very hard with Alex with this rig. It's probably one of the only CTEC rigs still in existence. And
is that the original one from back when we first put them in?
Yep.
Still look nice.
So they've been doing good. There's Shebang King, who's he got on today with him regular crew.
Looks like
Jubilation on the sheet, Jubes, and Jamie up front.
Is it? I think it might be Brad. Does look a lot like Jubes. Yeah, that's Jubes. Definitely Jubes.
There's a Fireball with a replacement forward hand on today.
Yep.
Who jumped on for them, mate?
Nick Drummond jumped on for them today.
Drummond instead of Sam Skeen.
Yep, so James Downey, James Finnington, Nick Drummond. We're just starting to get... Looks like all the boats are out here now, which is good. The starters' boats, looks like there's a bit of action.
Just heard from our regular drone pilot who's in Dubai. Said to say g'day. He's watching in Dubai. So not as warm here, but
is he over there with the Sail GP?
Yeah. It's all right though. We've got a very suitable replacement in Piers down the back on the drone today. Watch out, Dylan. Who's that? Employment Hero,
Will DeVola.
Looks like Will's back on board, right?
Back from the US by the looks of it, yeah.
Yep. Cheers. And all the boats are just about here, all waiting for signals from the starter.
Just trying to look up the course to see if we can see some top marks going in yet, but it's not quite, can't quite see anything up there just yet.
That's the bearing there, Paulie.
Is it?
On board. So sort of halfway between that yacht and the headland, I can see the mark boat there.
Perfect. I mean, this breeze does look to have stabilised a little bit. It's pretty consistent in that 8-knot range, just not quite enough to get too out on wire. A lot of bending. Often the hardest days are these ones. You come in, you can sail in a booming nor'easter, and at least you get to stretch yourself out, but you finish these ones up and you're never feeling great afterwards.
No.
Long day out in the sun, a lot of bending. Not much fun.
It's all right if you're the little blokes, but not us bigger blokes, Paulie. There's the reef off South Head. There's Ebix, the 13-foot skiff of Gemma Hopkins and James Hopkins. And they are our current club championship leaders. Yeah, so they're only 1 point in front of AWOL, which has a replacement skipper on board there today. So the brother-sister combo's doing really well.
Yeah. In the 13s this year too, I mean, it looks like there's a lot of the Flying 11 people who've been quite successful who are coming through into the 13s, which is exactly what they're designed for.
Yeah, well, yeah, they were designed as a stepping stone through to the 16-footers.
And like with the mentor program, it's all about trying to keep these kids coming through, eventually getting into a 16. And hearing about this mentor program, I think that's the key. You get some of these people coming down. And
Well, those boys there on screen,
yeah,
they
made their way through it.
made their way through, and
It's quite a
they're
few of them.
success story.
There's quite a few of them out here now with that, because there's also the young Sutek boys. They've all sailed the 13s.
Ruffy,
Doz,
Jay Harris. The list goes on.
The list goes on.
The Isles.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's just.
Are a bit after my time.
Yeah, well, I actually sailed the first one when they first got put on the water. Sailed a half season in that with one of my mates, Simon Mab, and then got a. No, never. I've sailed one race in a 16 with my little brother, and he finally switched it on up the last work and got us a win. But it's, I don't think that'll happen again. Some choice words get used when we sail together.
Hello, Willie, if you're watching.
Yeah, he's over in Dubai as well with Team Australia. Looks after the big cat for them.
He's not in charge of the lions at the zoo as well, is he? Those big cats.
Wouldn't surprise me.
As you can see, still waiting. The AP flag is still up. Can you see any reason why they're waiting, Paul?
I can't see a reason at all. I mean, I think we should try and make the most of what we've got out here at the moment. I mean, on a day like this, I don't think it's going to improve too much, but it could definitely get worse. So we should be trying to get this off as quick as we can.
Coming back up into Manly.
Can't quite see. Are we using a pin boat?
Here's a boat that I think will do reasonably well today, the Sail Racing.
Yeah.
The regular crew all back in there. It's their sort of sniffling weather, isn't it? But
Yeah.
when you put that 470 combination of Nathan and Mal and Chuck Simon Hoffman in the mix, it's going to be hard to beat them today. But
I think the Sail Racing, they could be one that could easily give them a shout. They've always just had that thing when they just get that little puff, they can get the jump, you know, and just get the boat on top of the water a little bit more. They've always been very successful at it.
There's the Mighty Moonin.
got the A team back on the Moonan today with Maddie back on there. It is filling in a little bit up the course.
AP signals down, so 6 minutes away from a start.
There's a lot of people standing up in boats looking up this race course, trying to figure out where to go.
We'll just go VMG straight to the top, Paul, on here. We're good.
As we can see there, Gus is pointing out where he wants to go.
It's not very often in an easterly it's this flat that you can really have a good look at the course. And, you know, those three boys there, they're really, they're deep in tactics talk there now. They're not talking about, what nightclub they're going to.
So get off the start line. That's all they've got to do.
There we go, 5 minutes until a start. Bearings changed to 130, Paulie.
Just clocked around a little bit to the right with this slight increase.
Does that change where you'd want to go?
I've got a good history with Easterlies of getting it wrong every time, so whichever I say I'd go the opposite.
Well, that makes two of us, so we've got to pick some way to go.
Does just look like it's funneling off South Head a tiny bit, so it'll be interesting. I've got no idea. So what do we think of this race though, Jimmy? Is it Typhoon's race to lose today in these kind of conditions?
Mate, I don't know. I know Mal's nervous getting back into the boat because he's been out of the boat for a bit of time being away with the Australian sailing team and so forth. But and obviously the pressure of the boys that have been filling in have been doing an exceptional job.
Exceptional these last few weeks.
A day like today makes it very hard, and you've got to be on the right side of every shift. It's just one of those things, and put the tide into the mix as well. It's not
a day where your boat speed's going to win you a race.
No,
at all. Which a
thinking man's day, which leaves you and me great where we are.
Correct.
Just under 3 minutes, or just over 3 minutes, sorry, viewers.
So we've got the drone up now, guys, having a look down the start line.
That's looking back up into Manly Cove there. For the viewers that aren't familiar with where we're racing, that might follow us on the 18s.
Just trying to pick where this pin end of the line is. It does sort of look like possibly we've got a pin end mark boat. Yeah. The rib down there. And if that's the case, we're seeing the boats actually struggle to get across on starboard, so very high up on the pin. Try and get down that end, I reckon.
So it's something new they've introduced, Paul, is it
prepping for the Nationals kind of thing? Because they're expecting a few more boats and just...
Yeah, well, mate, I'm not going to lie to you. There was an email come out today, and I didn't read it, but I did have a quick little look at it. It had something about a pin boat, so I think we're probably right on the money. I think that's what's going to be happening in preparation for the Nationals. So,
perfect.
Yeah,
we can see a lot of the big names in this race all getting down around that pin end. The Moonan's down there, the Typhoon's down there, the Iamy with Doz. So it'd be interesting to see if they're all pushing for that one spot, how they all go.
Just watch the boats that are behind you. Yeah. Yes. So they're going to come pretty quickly.
1:20 to this start now. We're seeing everybody start to pick their positions.
having a mark boat, the the line doesn't look as long as it normally is. Or have we got more people here? I don't know.
It looks really short to me.
Yeah.
Dodds definitely wants to win the race to the bar. He doesn't mind if he starts quite early.
Mate, he was less inclined to read sailing instructions than I ever was, so put a bit of pressure on the old Napa back in the day.
So
They're all on that line pretty early, aren't they, Paulie?
yeah, they're all, because we've got, well, 20 seconds to go. They're all holding quite nicely down that end. Seeing Dodds just come and jam the Army in down there on the pin. Really wanted that to be the leeward boat here. 6 seconds.
2, 1.
Looked fairly clear. The Army on the end was very touch and go. But he seems to have won that pin which he wanted.
Red pumps red going. Did they miss the line there, or are they just going back around? Just to be on the safe side.
I think they did miss it.
They all run these, the Velocitex, and they got some mod thing now that they run, which they ping the line, does all the same thing, and then they can overlay the tracks each week to see how they go. So
we got the Army jumping out there on the pin end. And so here we've got the contemporary pools. Saints jumped off today.
yeah, he's jumped off.
They've jumped on. They've got Jason Atkins, I believe, on the sheet.
The legend golfer himself.
Yep, Big J. He would have been licking his lips when he got out here seeing this forecast.
He doesn't get many Saturdays off, so when he does, he's straight on the phone to everyone going, can I get a ride? Can I get a ride?
So we're back on the boats, extending out to the left off the pin here. We can see the Army's taking the nice low road, nice and quick, with the Typhoon squeezing everybody out above them. Just above the Typhoon there is, so here we're back. We're on the fire stopping here. They're going out the right-hand side of the course.
Yep.
Be interesting.
Southerly following them.
We've got a bit of a split here with a few people heading out to the right.
It'll be
interesting to see when they come back together because, you know, as we all know, the centre of a course doesn't normally pay in it easily.
Well, unless the young blokes on fire stopping have seen something out that way, they're not listening to Paige's advice from yesterday. He goes, if you're not sure, just go left.
And they're not listening to Jimmy's advice, which is to follow Paige here. either.
So there's the guys all
So the
punching out.
The Typhoons had a really nice lane off this start. They've managed to hold everybody up above them and started to leave out around the front of them. And they've, well, looking good. They're higher and faster than the Army at the moment.
Yep.
And just off their hip off screen is the moon, and
Just to the right of,
just to the right, but they're
under the drone there.
yeah, they're managing to live there, which is nice. We've got the sort of three big brains, you'd say, wouldn't you, Jimmy, out here, all heading out to this left-hand side.
You're not putting Doz in that boat of big brains, surely.
Well, he thinks he does.
No.
I was more thinking about Rob, actually, but
No. Doz likes these.
he does. He always
blokes
has.
these days. Like
He's very good at doing the snakes and ladders kind of game in this kind of thing, isn't he?
yeah, he's he beats himself up quite a fair bit some days, but
So we're just here behind them
the Typhoon.
with their new main salon, which looks very, very nice. So,
Flyman
here,
Hero, Will Devola back in the game, and there's probably one of the great brains just to the left of him is is Clint Bowen.
Bozo. So on today, Phil Harmer's jumped off the fluid today. And they've got Smithers on. So they've taken a few kgs out of that boat, which is good for them. And this pack that are on here are the boats sort of following out our leaders to the left, with sort of the red pumps leading them across. Everybody seems to be just trying to hold their lane to get out to this left-hand side.
Yep. George has got a little duck on her hands there to get around the back of Employment Hero.
So I was told by the forward hand of the fluid today, if the Halyard gets stuck on the drop, it's not his fault, it's Phil Harmer's. He re-spliced it, it's a little bit furry, and he reckons it's only going to go up and down twice. So we've seen the Imey here. They're the first boat of these 3 leaders to flick back onto port, and it looks like he's well behind Typhoon there, and Moonan's just chucked back in front to lead him back to the right.
Not far off a top mark lay here.
No. So the mark was a bit further in the left, the top mark, than I initially thought.
Well, it was originally 120, right? And then went 130. So
Which
you're
means that
clocking-
I thought it would have
clocking
been
right.
further right, but it's to the left of where I even thought 120 was. So, but it seems to be quite nice. The boats, they're off screen, but the boats who went out right are not looking too famous at the moment. We're sort of, here on screen, we're seeing the last of the boats extending into this left-hand side.
So what do you think Baz would be saying at home
Baz,
with the guys out to the right?
they're all idiots. And they're all idiots, definitely. And he'll probably tell them they're doing too much thinking. Just sail the boat fast and you'll be all right.
It's got terra firma between us and a couple of boats here that we're just waiting to pass around us so we can get around and get up there.
So here we are on the Moonan and the Imey again. Moonan's just trying to lift around the bow of the Imey. Ruffy, Dons will be relishing getting back in a boat against Ruffy. Those two have sailed against each other. I think they're about 6 years old. They've had a... Dons has had the wood on him, I think, the last few times they've sailed the 16.
There's the other 16, it's just sort of the top of screen, almost above the Moonan rig there that you can see coming back, the ones that went hard right.
So that's the sail racing is the one furthest out to the right as we zoom over there with the drone at the moment.
There's a Sutek.
And then so we might have called it a little bit early. They're actually looking quite nice out in the right, Jimmy.
As I said, Paulie, we're going right up the middle, mate.
So we're on the red pumps here. Red pumps, red.
Yep. And there's racing.
So here's Sail Racing, the boat that's leading everybody back from the right-hand side. They've easily crossed in front of the Moonan, and they're looking at the moment a bit bow to bow with Typhoon. But the boys there have got some nice runners coming off middle head underneath them, which is just managing to squeeze a little bit more height out of the boat. And you can see, you know, Tom Potter's from that 470 background himself as well, and you just watch his little body movements and everything like that. So they've done really well out in that right-hand side.
They have done exceptionally well.
So, our tactics of following Nathan didn't really pay off for us this time, Jimmy.
No, well, I told you, we're going up the middle, mate. We weren't following anyone. Don't worry about Nathan. We always get it right.
So the sail racing here, we've got them on screen. I'd say they're just below the starboard lay. If they can squeeze a bit of height, they might be able to make it up there. But they're probably 50 to 75 metres off this top mark. And a nice little right-hander they'll get there on this one. So it does look like they're going to make it up here. You can see them
Only just.
You can see them just. The other thing they've got here is the tide coming out of the harbour, which is sort of shooting them out to sea, but here it might also just be pushing them away from this mark. You can see the boys bending to try and squeeze up there.
Go down with the first 3 or 4.
Tight at the top here, isn't it?
Very tight.
Can't touch that mark.
Unlike the 18s.
Unlike the 18s. The 18s, they can touch them pulley, they just can't drag them.
Yeah. So that was Sail Racing round first, and we got the Typhoon coming in second here. They're also quite tight on it, with the Moonin just in behind.
Sort of the ones that you thought were going to be up there.
Yeah. It's not a... And the Typhoon also looks like it's got a new chute on today as well.
Brand new chute from...
Image signage, is that what it said?
Yes. And interesting there, Moon and Yachts jibed at the top mark.
Well, it is the kind of thought if someone made the gains in down that side upwind, possibly a bit more pressure.
Shebang around in 4th with Imey hot on their heels.
Yeah.
And a guy that really likes these sorts of days, Phil Cook,
Yeah.
on the Altus Consulting. Around next, Fire Stopping and Botany Access. There's still... You don't get much closer than that at the top mark, do you, Paulie?
No, well, this should be interesting.
What's Georgia going to do here?
What?
We're going on board Cunningham's on the mark.
And he's on board the Cunninghams at the top mark. How's that for a... You can see Alex and Nick there feverishly trying to figure out as they're jibing around. They got pinned out there.
So then we can see there, looking over at the
Georgia.
outback, they also had to jibe back round to get round this mark. And this is the Fluid just gone round with the Bartley. There's a bit of bow-to-bow action here. People,
Oh,
Cunningham's around, jibing back down that side. That's it.
Scott, Typhoon, and Sail Racing.
Okay, these are our 2 leaders around the top mark. Typhoon with the Sail Racing down below. Sail Racing looks like it's got a nice little jump on them there, actually. So they're hammering down on port tack towards the bottom mark. And there's a nice puff there on the Typhoon to try and get them down. The Fire Stopping on screen. So it seems that this pressure with the people coming, the right-hand side kind of winning in, the breeze might have flicked around to the right a little bit. You know, it seems to be spending a little bit more time on port down this run than starboard.
do you think we might see a change of course?
Not sure. I think it's going to move around quite a bit. So if you start moving it a couple of times, there'll be a few more changes that'll happen.
The course changer guys weren't their beers tonight.
But we're just going past the course changing people here, and they're looking pretty.
They look like they're ready to pump up a mark.
They do.
Yeah, please.
So here we got the Sutec boys on screen. They're in quite a nice position here. You'd say
Shebang.
and Shebang. The young Sutec boys, they're probably sitting in about 5th, 6th, which is what, you know, it's a good day for them. See if they can chip away. They're lighter than everybody else. They should make a couple of nice gains downwind. And back on screen we've got the Shebang, the Treasurer and King. He's having a good day today. He's probably just sitting 50 metres off the back of the Typhoon, probably in 4th place. So he's done well at coming around there, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's opened up his lead in.
Yeah. He's sort of capped out on the boats behind him, getting a bit of clear air.
Yeah, and there's one of our 13s, which is that's Cybertech, I think.
Cybertech. So the 13s have started here. So they generally start, I think they start about 5 minutes after the 16s, do they?
Yeah.
And they do one less lap because, you know, they're just not as quick around the course.
Okay, Sail Racing, the leader, has chosen the right-hand mark.
After making big gains in the left up the last one. We can also see here that, so it's a big gate here, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, well, it's almost as long as what that start line was, right?
Yeah. I mean,
you've got Moonin and Typhoon both opting for that left-hand mark after
going, left turn at the bottom. So, here we go. The Typhoon laying it down. Maybe Mal is feeling the pressure.
Can't hang it on him, mate. There's no room to hang anything on him. He's got 2 gold medals, so can't hang anything else on him.
So this pressure has just pumped through a tiny bit here, hasn't it? It's creating a bit of issue.
The shebang.
Oh,
No.
straight through the brand new main. Interesting.
How to win friends and influence people. 101.
So this is, in an overall perspective, Jimmy, this makes it quite interesting because
The boats coming into the market, guys.
you'd almost, the Typhoon won't be sailing much more of this race.
No. I guess you could go for average points.
Yeah. Just lost it there for a little bit. We're back on the Typhoon and the...
Fighting the access squeezing through in the background.
But this pressure has kicked through a little bit, hasn't it, Jimmy?
Has kicked and gone right.
Kicked and gone right.
And then Fire stopping next round.
They've done well down there, haven't they?
Yep. And then you've got, just there, you got one of the Middle Harbour
Boats.
16s, Eric Strip
Removals.
Removals. Thought there was someone a lot closer than what they were. So they've ended up in the tide. Red Pumps, then Chubbs, then Cunningham's, who have picked up a few down that one.
Yeah, they've done well down there because I think they went...
Not many people have gone to the other mark, but it's disappointing for the boys there on Typhoon, that's for sure.
Yeah, very disappointing. It has kicked, and when it's kicked, it's come from the right. So we're also seeing up the course another big split from the leaders.
Yep.
The Moonin, who went round second, doing the opposite to last time.
The Outback Marine just packing a wine glass spinnaker. That'll really work well. There's the Outback Marine going around. Who else have we got to come down? Fluid, Messy. Look, I think your Howard story's right on the fluid. And then Contemporary Pools following him in. And that just about wraps him up.
Jason will be keen to get back into his good golf buddy Clint there.
Let's see if we can fix some of those 13s up as they come down. Okay, come on now then.
So just on screen, Berkey's finally got that shoot away. He'll be cursing Phil Harmer at the moment. With the Contemporary Pools going around the mark.
Someone of ours, right?
So I suppose the big news from that one is we've lost the favourite for the race at the bottom mark. Laying it over and getting a pole through their main.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing for the Typhoon.
So we've got the...
So,
It's just
big split in the fleet, isn't it,
Big.
Paul? It's sort of
big split.
like 2 lots. So there's the race leader, as we know it.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting when they come back and cross with the Moonin.
Well, Sail Racing went hard left.
Hard left.
Moonin has gone hard right. So,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see this cross where they all wash out.
I'm not making any calls this time. I thought the left paid last time.
No, we're doing exactly what I said we're going to do. We're going right up the middle, Paulie. Don't worry about it.
As we do, look, we're on the Sail Racing here, but just as I look across, it does look like there is a little bit more pressure in the sort of centre right of this course at the moment. And the Sail Racing going back for more in the left.
I think with what we can see off the camera cap, Paulie, I think,
Slow right now, put it straight on.
what we can see with Moonan over here,
Yeah.
I think they had to.
Yeah. I think they were heading back to take a stern, so let's not cross until we think that we can.
Or let's hope that something better comes back.
And here are on the Sutek boys. This is sort of just this two-string here. These boys are really stretching out, you know. They're not the biggest guys. They'll be looking... It does suit them.
And they are just taking the stern of Sheds Real Estate from Middle Harbour.
We're about to see them cross the battle of the two sponsors on the boat. Just crossing in front of the fire stopping.
It used to be a regular occurrence, those two boats crossing each other, Paulie.
Not normally in that order though, Jimmy. So that's the Moon, and they're right up in the top right-hand side of the course. Got good pressure there. The boys are swinging hard. I think they've done nicely here. It almost looks like they're almost bending back down to the left here, aren't they?
Yeah. Fire stopping climbing through the fleet. A couple of the 13s in the background.
They are doing well, the fire stopping. Made good gains downhill last time, and they're just chipping their way through at the moment. So we got 13, number 23 here. This is the Hornblowers. Seem as smart. Little bit of jib cunno would go astray on that boat at the moment, I think. Or it looks like actually the jib cunno at the tops fell down.
Is it? Yeah, let go.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Makes for a long day, doesn't it?
Yeah, you'd almost want to lay it over, wouldn't you? Tidy it up. A little... Well, I mean, they're out here having fun. It's starting to be a nice day. And that's not Hornblower, it's just heading back to the left there. So here we go, we got the Moonan on screen. If we just go to the left a tiny bit, we're going to see that they've got they've jumped out a little bit just on the sail racing. So this right hand side has paid off again. They've just tacked under their bow there and, you know, make them follow them into this mark. So when this pressure gets up like this really does play into Ruffy's hands. He is through the water with him and Gus upwinds particularly. They love this. As soon as Ruffy's all about getting that weight on the wire and really utilising his boat speed. The
Botany Scaffold 13.
Just
Sophie Hart.
tucked in
Bella Devola.
Checked in on the starboard ley line, following in the Cybertech group. So this is the 4:13 round the mark.
There's the leaders of the 13s.
Leaders on screen. Hartley.
That could be the fluid, I dare say.
With the bright orange spinnaker.
Yep. Donny.
Followed by the Bartley Constructions. Taylor Springer.
There's our leader, second time up, Moonan Yachts.
Going back to what worked for them last time. Jibe set.
Well, you're almost aiming directly at the bottom mark on a jibe set, aren't you, Paulie?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it has kicked around a little bit further, but sort of on a slightly higher angle than last time. But here's the sail racing coming in.
And that won't worry the boys on sail racing. Like
No.
that's chaseable for them.
Yeah.
It's like Ruffy definitely
I don't,
knew what to do up that one.
yeah. I think also Ruffy, you know, he's doing well in these club championships. The sail racing haven't been having the best fun with it so far. But Ruffy will sit here. They've got a nice big gap back to the next boat, and he'll just sort of lock them away. I don't expect to see them going to opposite sides of the course again from here.
No,
He'll try and limit the passing lanes as much as he can. Here we're just following the Sail Racing boys down. This pressure just seems to have softened off a tiny bit. You can see Felix has just got his weight in the boat a tiny bit. So we're back on the top mark here.
So, yeah, Sutek, what a...
Whoa, the boys.
The flyer.
The flyer. They've
worked.
done well. I mean, this is just shows a couple of training sessions. Get you back up through the fleet. Nice rounding from the boys there. With the botany, Jimmy was giving Chris a bit of stick before the race.
Friendly stick. It's all right, you can deal with him tonight when we get back to the club, mate.
And he's, you know...
And Cunningham's, big mover. Big
mover. I think they rounded that last top mark about fourth last where they had to jibe around. And the fire truck has come through the fleet well as well. Getting a little bit
Gotta
close.
get out on wire to bear away, boys. Does help.
Let's see if Lockie can get these battens through this time.
Yep.
And this is
Red Pumps, and then Imey. Next around, there's little Red Pumps Red.
Red Pumps Red are sitting. They'll be around in two goes. Two later.
13, number 31, Paulie. Who have
Number
we got?
31, that's Zach Brackenby and Oliver Ross. So that's the Abaco. It just seems to be
Red Pumps Red around now with Chubbs and Shebang after that unfortunate tie-up with the Typhoon at the bottom. See what happens when you're talking good things about Kingy, saying he was in a good position, and bang.
Oh, hopefully he doesn't watch this and blame me.
But the commentator's curse on here is true.
So we're just following down the Imey here. Imey following the fire stopping. We're just zooming down through the fleet. We've got the Cunningham. Oh, we're back on Sail Racing here, which is good. It's just softened out again, hasn't it? Softened and gone left. So here's the Cunninghams. Just behind Botany. With Sutek down below them.
That's a really close race, those three.
Yeah, it's a close race for the... I mean, the way that Nick came through that fleet, though, on the Cunninghams, if he continues that form, he'll be up with the Sail Racing on the next one. And here we go, coming down with the Sutek boys and the Cunninghams. It's just gotten a little bit puffier.
So that breeze has sort of died and gone back to where it was a bit.
Yeah, it has. I don't think we thought we saw before the Mark boat getting ready for a change of course, but I think it's flicked back around a tiny bit. They're not going to have to.
No, I think they're doing it.
Are they?
Yeah, they're holding signals up down the bottom. I'm just locked out by a couple of boats here to get down there. But Moon and Yacht's going around the bottom mark as we speak.
Taking a left-hand turn down the bottom again.
Yep.
So the Bartley 13 here looks like they're just in behind the...
Sail Racing.
And they've done well down there. It looks like they've put themselves almost into the lead. It's quite good when you're on the 13s out here. They get to watch what the 16 boys do and which direction they go. They almost get a little cheat sheet for up the works. You know, the 16s are far enough up that they can try and watch where these guys go and follow them around. So the Sail Racing...
Split marks there from Sail Racing.
Sail Racing taking that left-hand turn again. Ruffy must be very confident in this right-hand side.
Well, they look a little bit more bow down. And there you go, Sail Racing flopping straight over to come back this way.
Yeah. Well, I think Felix was taking that right-hand turn at the bottom. With this gate, it does look like the right-hand mark is, you know, further up the course, a sort of shorter distance.
Yep.
Shots. What's behind you, Rob?
So we're just following the Sail Racing across here.
Trying to see what the signals are, but we definitely know what they are. But
Well, we saw where they dropped it back in. It's a little bit further in the right and sort of extending it a little bit as well, wasn't it? So the Sutek boys there. Not the nicest drive from Josh just then. Chute got a little bit sticky. Perhaps his sponsor should get him a new one. And they're just
no Christmas bonus for you, and he'll get one. There you go. How's that for a deal, Paulie?
Yeah. I think I'll take my bonus over there, Spinnaker. So here we are, the Sutek dropping it down now, about to take the left-hand turn. So they've done well there. They've sort of jumped out on the blokes behind them. And then we've got Cunningham's and Botany Access coming into the mark here. With Cunningham's looking like they're going to have to follow Botany around. And Phil Cook coming in behind them. As Jimmy said, he likes these kind of days, and he's just working his way through as well. Everybody's wanting this left-hand turn at the bottom, though.
Yeah, well, the only one who didn't was Sail Racing and the 13s.
Yeah, and the 13s have decided to go the opposite direction to all of the 16s. It does... It's as we're looking up the course here, it does look like it's kicked back in that little bit. When it's kicking in, it is coming from the right-hand side.
Yep. The
So we're on here. The Cunninghams had to follow the Botany around. They're just trying to punch low, get themselves a little bit of clear air so they don't suck gas all the way across. So, I mean, they're almost breathing there. They probably should try and get a little bit further out.
fire stopping around. At the same time, Imey went around the other mark. Red Pumps Red look like they're going to the other mark. But,
So the Red Pumps Red has closed up big time into the Red Pumps.
nervous times.
Nervous times, as we've seen in these ones so far. They've just managed to sneak through at the end, really, haven't they?
Yep, so that's Red Pumps there. It's Greg just pulling the spinnaker around to make Jay's life easier.
What
Get it in that spinnaker chute. Have to talk to him about, might be under notice from the Sheedan Union helping out a Foradan.
Yeah.
And there's young boys on Chubbs coming into the bottom mark, closely followed by Capital Brewing. Employment Hero in the background there, heading off to the other mark.
It's really close all the way through the fleet today. Generally in these Eastleys, we do see them extend out.
Yeah.
And, you know, but everybody's, you know...
Well, especially how much the breeze has been swinging around, Paulie.
Yeah.
That, you know, you think the split would be a lot larger than what we're seeing today, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's the,
Definitely.
the shebang.
He's managed to get around this one without going through anyone's main soles. And then we got the Commodore, Matt Trigalone on the Southerly coming in. Well, I think they've got Timmy Lees on the sheet on that boat today as well, which is
Yeah,
nice.
I think Tim's permanent there on
Is
the
he?
Southerly, yeah, with Polehead.
Because I know Tim's been doing a lot of bike riding. He just did, trying to follow in Clint's footsteps a little bit. He's just done a 4-day Tour de Cure ride down the coast.
Oh, brilliant stuff. There's the Musto.
Musto boys coming round. Everybody's liking
See
this
what
left
happened?
hand
We
turn.
talked them up too before the race.
Well,
Look at it. Look what happens.
I did say that they generally start well.
Yeah. There's the Botany Access with just in front of them. Looks like Cunningham's, but they're
So we can see there the boys are fully swinging on the boat there as we look down from the top. They're not quite throwing their full shoulders at it. I mean, they are dumping a little bit of main off that corner, so they could swing a bit harder, but I think Buzz would like to have a look at that one. It's a bit of an interesting twist up the top of that main sail. Okay, so here we are on board the Cunninghams again.
Botany Access just there in behind them.
So they've done really well there because they followed them around the mark, and as we said, they just wanted to get power forward on them to try and get an opportunity. They've managed to do that, and now they can try and sort of jump into a squeeze and see if they can put a bit of pressure on them from below.
You could see Alex there looking over his shoulder, just trying to gauge speed and height with the boys on bottom.
And as we can see from this drone shot here, how they're just, it'll only take one little bit of a left-hander and they'll just, the botany will be looking back at them there. The boys have done well. They've given themselves an opportunity to get past there. So the Capital Brewing
And Red Pumps.
Jess and Andy. So they've come around the bottom mark, done that left turn, but taken a dig back towards the middle of the course, which is
It looks like it's gone more back to the left looking at some of these boats working up.
Yeah. So I mean, last time up we saw most of the boats go hard right into this corner, didn't we, Jimmy? But they're all seeming to sort of sail up the middle of this course this time, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Here we are, the boys on the Sutek. As we said, there's not much of them. They're swinging as hard as they can.
They missing you, Paulie.
Definitely not missing me today. I think I've got a solid 40 kilos on there, sheet hand. So here we go, the Red Pumps. As they're all tacking over to port over here too, you can just see that there's those little runners that are bouncing off middle head here. It just lets the boats jump out of the water, and that's how they can squeeze their height into them here. It's a hard day for the sheet hands. They've got to work hard to get onto those runners. You'll start seeing that the forward hands sort of just roll their weight onto their front foot. There we see Jay giving his best Uching impression on camera. But those little movements are really helpful at trying to jump onto those waves. And we can see here,
Sort of stuck in between two fleets here, Paulie. Trying to get out of here.
Jimmy's doing his best dance up the centre of the course.
Yeah, Ebix 13, they're on screen.
So, Gemma Hopkins, they've been doing really well, haven't they? They're up the front end of this.
Mate, they've been doing brilliantly. They're leading both the Cruise Trophy and the Club Championships as of this morning. So,
and the Cruise Trophy is, just let everyone know, it's sort of like the handicap side that runs in conjunction with the Club Championships.
Yep.
So I mean, if you're winning both of them, it means that you're constantly improving.
yeah.
You know, because your handicap gets adjusted. So to be, you got to. The boats that tend to win the overall point scores on the handicap down here are the ones that make the biggest consistency, number one, but also improve throughout the year. And they just look really nice and steady there, don't they? They've got it all under control.
There's the fire stopping, rocketing along with Chubbs. Is that Chubbs in the background? Or?
Yeah, that's the Chubbs in the
Yep.
background. We can just see the forward hand starting to have to bend a little bit in some of these lulls here. So as Jimmy rightly alluded to, it's not on screen, but as I look up the course from where I am, it looks like we're getting a little bit more pushing out of the right again.
Yeah.
So
Breeze is just swinging around so much, Paulie. It's incredible. Like this cloud cover over Sydney.
yeah, and I
So-
think I mean, does seem to be me a little bit though. It's coming in pulses.
There's Mighty Moonin.
So the Moonin and the Sail Racing split again, which we didn't think could happen. Ruffy would lock him away, but he's extended away here. The
Yeah.
boys on the Moonin, you know, they're showing a real clean set of hills here.
You can put the curse on him if you want.
Oh, I can't do it to my little buddy. I can do it to Gus though. Gus fall out of the boat again like the last time. But yeah, I think these boats coming back from the left are going to take a bit of pain here. Quite a bit of pain. But they just look really nice and settled there. So the moon here is just extending out. They're getting pretty close to the port lay here. We're zooming up towards the top mark, which is, compared to the last one, I'd say it's 200 metres, a little bit further in the right. So obviously they thought this race was going a little bit too quickly. I think the target for this race is about 90 minutes, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah, normally about 90 minutes.
90 minutes, and I mean, this is the third time down, so another full lap after this one.
Yep.
As you can see there, Gus and Matty way together, looking good, both dead flat.
At least Matty wins something today at this stage.
We're really giving it a red hot go to make a race of this, aren't we?
Well, I think we've got to get more involved in it with that sort of thing. There's the
That's the
sail racing.
That's the sail racing in the background. You can see they've extended away really nicely. So we're getting up into Belmont's favourite corner where this top mark is.
Yeah.
So the boys here, we'll expect them to tack the next 20 seconds as they get to the lay.
They've really opened up, haven't they, Paul?
Yeah. Yeah.
Incredible how far they've opened up, actually.
Well, I mean, it was a bit of confidence not to try and cover off sail racing going hard into the left there. But, you know, they're pretty confident in this right-hand side after they got touched up in the left the first time up.
At least they're quick learners.
I think...
You just go way lighter. Yes.
Ruffy will be just trying to consolidate everything now. You'll watch, they'll take everything nice and easy, not push it too hard. They've really put this top mark under South Head. It's a little bit
There are some little rollers running here, so we've still got to be a little careful. Like, probably just the right gap in between them here, Paulie, just to get a 16 in enough trouble.
Yeah, and it's the timing of your bear away. You know, the sheet hand really feels that main load up. And to get these things away, like on screen we're going to see here, you'll just watch, they'll drop that windward hull in a tiny bit and time it with the waves.
Windward hull?
Chine. Whatever, Jimmy.
We've got cats here.
And it just helps the boat get away, and it's nice and easy, as we saw with the boys.
A bit of vang, cannos, everything else.
Everything else gets done. The little bloke up the back with the smart stick does all that for you. But yeah,
sometimes not that smart though.
But we can really see that they've opened up a good minute lead here now.
Oh, at least, yeah. Sailing brilliantly.
And we're seeing them, this is the first time they haven't done a jibe set round the top, which is probably just so they can get themselves a little bit of distance away from South Head, not be in the wind shadow.
Just come up and get sail racing.
This is sail racing, about to tack onto the starboard lay.
Just feel one of those big rollers go under the boat there, Paul.
Yeah. Well, when they're going downwind too, with these rollers coming through, they're at a good angle when they're going to be jibing back onto port. And you'll watch these sort of top guys, how hard the forward hands will be working to try and get them down those rollers. Here we go.
And there's the wild man Alex on sheet. Michael Charles up the bow and Nick on board the Cunninghams.
So it looks like we've had a bit of a shuffle up for that third position. It's a very, very tight race. There we go, sail racing nice and smooth around the mark there. Windward set. Put the windward chine in just to give it a little bit of time to clear the rig. Very nice.
Bang, well done.
Yeah. So these two crew on the top two boats as well. The forward hands, you got Paulie Dunbannon up the front of the sail racing and Matty Stenner. If you want to see two blokes rip a shoot, they're two of the hardest working blokes out here.
You have a beer with Napa this afternoon, mate, and explain that to him. So Paulie's just live on air said that Napa's lost it. I slipped your mind.
I don't think Napa will ever lose it.
Nah.
He's definitely wins the angriest award though, doesn't he?
Mate, passionate award.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Passion.
So here we can see the Sail Racing just following down, and I mean Sail Racing's also got a really good gap back to third behind them.
Yeah, the race is definitely going to be for third.
This race for third's good. So here we've got Altus, Phil Cook,
The Gruter brothers.
and the Gruder brothers coming
Dave and
through.
Rob.
They rounded that bottom mark, I think, back in fifth, so they've done really well up this work. And the Sutek boys have just slipped back into fourth with an interesting tack there from the boys. Looks like they jammed the main on. But a nice conventional, taking a nice easy lane in here to the boys. As you can see there, that's Mikey up the back, letting the van go, Cano go in preparation to go around this mark. Nice and smooth.
And next around it be the Cunninghams.
Cunningham's up into fifth. Managed to squeeze through the Botany access.
Here we are live on board with them. And
That's nice and smooth from the boys.
we got Alex to put the camera on the boat, and he's put it on himself. Good.
It's good to see. You can see how much happens for the two up the front, whilst the skipper gets to have a little bit of a relax around those marks.
A bit of a relax our way around.
So the Red Pumps Red's done well up here too. They've just come in behind the Cunninghams and they've sort of jumped up from about 10th up to 6th.
Botany access,
Botany
fire
access
stopping,
and the
hot on the heels.
The fire stopping's done well here. They've managed to hold their position, sort of, haven't they, Jimmy?
Yeah, not too bad of a set.
This is a good day for them. The work during the week with Mal's probably obviously paying off.
Yeah, well, it's like just a combination of things with them, Paulie. Like, you know,
Yeah.
as you know, like when you first get into this class, it's like something always goes wrong. Like, you know, once a work, once a run, and it's
Yeah.
just slowly ironing those processes out.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't knock these guys for passion. Like, it's not just those
Yeah.
blokes. It's a young Tyler.
Yeah.
You know, he's taking it with two hands, like everyone else has.
It's just a lot of time on the boat in these things.
Yep. And there's the Imey.
There's the Rockstar Doz. Nice jibe set.
Haven't seen him out and about. Normally see him out on his powerboat, but he's obviously got too much on these days. So bit of a coup for the boys to get him on board while Dan's
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
There's the Botany access looking a treat with Red Pumps Red right behind him. And the Red Pumps has fallen back there, just rounding the mark now. So
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 places behind Red Pumps Red.
Here comes the shebang around now. It's sort of chipping away from the
He'll be
earlier
happy
adventure.
he's in front of Fluid who's going
That's,
behind
that's,
him.
that's
so-
all that he really worries about, doesn't he?
Yep. We might just trying to find a hole to get back over.
The employment hero round. Will's back.
We'll go pick up this battle for third. What do you reckon, Paul?
Yeah, I think the battle for third's going to be the real interesting one here.
Then we'll make sure we're at the finish to see.
Because so we're on Botany access here, which is they just slipped back up that work, but they've put themselves in a nice position here down this run above the boats in third, fourth, and fifth. So if they do get this right-hand pressure, which when we do get an increase, it's where it's coming from, that we have to soak down over the top of them. And he's also done well to stay out of the little battle below, just focus on his own boat.
And now just like they're not on screen at the moment, they look like they've really stepped out here, Paulie.
They have gapped out, haven't they?
So just in that short period, they've obviously got onto a really good one and
It
got out
seems,
of dodge.
it seems to be the blokes that have gotten into this sort of southern side of the course first that seem to have jumped out a little bit. Like, you know, the Sutek, which was the last one to jibe, you're almost saying that they've slipped back into fifth or sixth here. But we sort of said it earlier, this is kind of Phil's kind of conditions, isn't it? That just enough to get you on wire with a bit of shifty stuff. He's very good at keeping his head out of the boat and looking around the course.
Yep, well, Phil's busy of a night marking all the exams, the HSC, so...
Yeah. You can even see him there. He's sitting in just in the boat to try and make sure the boys can stretch out on the wire. But just doesn't want the full weight out there just yet. It's really... We're just getting a little bit more pressure here, just filling in from that right-hand side of the course again now. You can see the boys starting to bend down. Well off screen, the Sutek's almost at the bottom mark. The Moonen, sorry,
Yep.
is round the bottom. And here we are on the Sutek. And they've actually done really nicely here.
They've done the best out of this pack that's just right in the middle of the sound, haven't they, Paulie?
Yeah, and I think he's a lot closer to the Altus than what we thought initially.
Yeah, well, that's the Altus in the background there, just to the right of shot.
And you can just see the boys here trying to work these little runners under their things, soak down a tiny bit when they can. Josh has been in the gym. He's working hard there. Steve, I'll be happy to see that one. So we've just seen the Altus flick over. They're just having the ferry run through. And here's the Altus coming off Middlehead. So the Altus here is sort of out on the starboard lay. Everybody's really liking this bottom corner of the course at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it, Polly? It's sort of like almost like a race car track. Everyone's just going the same sort of way at the moment.
And I think there's sort of, I think a lot of these people in this race too, they're quite happy at where they are. They're trying to consolidate their position, so they know that it's almost looking to be a tiny bit of a runway
just
track.
about to jibe and into second, so they're about a minute, just over a minute behind Moon and Yachts, which is that's incredible how far Ruffy's stepped out on them.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the Rich is going to get richer a little bit as it fills in from that right-hand corner again. He's going to get to that pressure first.
Are they moving the mark again here, Paulie?
Well, there's that. Star Racing taking a left-hand turn at the bottom. It seems they're doing another change of course.
Oh, it's for the 13th.
Oh, it's for the 13th. So just letting them know that they're going to the same mark as the 16th here. So that's Altus on screen. I think they've really gained back into sail racing here as well.
Yeah, I think this could be quite the battle.
And as we look back up the course, it has just kicked back into that 12-knot range here for the guys. So hopefully my young Sutek boys jibe here and go around to take a left turn as well. And this is them now, just getting the chute through. They've got a 13 in front of them that's going to be a bit of an interesting one. Hopefully they can get over the top of it and squeeze around.
Number 37, Duchess.
Duchess.
Amy Bentley.
And Bethan. The Red Pump Red boys, they're about to come onto screen with the Sutek. They've done extremely well down here. Here we go. They're pushing.
It's Force Cunningham's to go.
Yeah.
They're doing a little double jibe.
And this is the young blokes putting a bit of pressure on the boys up the front here. With the chute, it's not such a hard thing, that one, but you can just see.
Well executed.
Very well executed.
Not a bad drop on the Cunninghams either. From Mikey Charles.
I mean, in this situation, I'd much rather be where the Cunninghams is than where Red Pumps is at the moment. They're just going to suck a little bit of gas all the way across there. If Cunninghams can click into a high mode, they're going to look all right. So here we go. We're on the Botany Access rounding the mark. They've held their position down there, which is good. And they've got the fire stopping coming in behind them, hot on their tail. With a nice jibe drop there from the boys. Very smooth. See if they can get it away.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. As we see the gears come on there, you see a rip on the Cunno and the vein.
Mate, they'll be happy with that result if they stay in that position, which, you know, there's a fair get back to the next boat. So,
Well, I feel like they've been pushing forward for the whole race, which is what you sort of want to feel. You know, if you were coming third in the race and you drop back to 6, you're not too happy.
yeah.
But coming from, you know, they were deep. They were back in 12th. And now they're pushing up into the probably 6th or 7th.
I could do with a bit of jib on looking at that picture. So,
I mean, it's that thing too that you were sort of talking about, Jimmy. It's getting to know your numbers as we change through these conditions. It's a little bit lumpier. Pull the jib track in and twist it off a tiny bit. Those kind of things. So here we have Doz coming in on a hot one, as he's known to do. And now we're back on the Botany, extending up with. Yeah.
Sail Racing.
The Sail Racing's really come back to this battle for third, haven't they?
Yeah, well, the
Second and third. I mean, I think it has gone soft again as well, hasn't it, Jimmy? It's sort of flicked back into that left-hand
very
side.
patchy. It's very, very patchy out here now. Paulie, like looking at Moon and
Moon, it looks.
the top of screen there.
They look stuck in the water out there, don't
They
they?
look stuck properly. Yeah, and like all these guys working up, they've got to keep an eye on that and go, well, let's not go there.
Yeah, definitely. Nice jibe there, sort of, from the fluid.
Almost.
That's got nothing to do with the halyard, that one, Berkey. I mean, even the Sail Racing here, we've got one of the 13s of Bartley, which I believe they're looking like they're coming third or fourth in the 13s race. The 13s have now come out this side with the 16s as well. I think they learnt their lesson from the last one.
Yeah, well, and you'd think they would have, you know, the like them having to go to the old mark.
Yeah.
Advantage would have been to come this way.
Yeah.
Big move and shake to come this way. Sort of.
So we got
One
the
of Shippo's famous kumquats come through.
Oh. So we're on the moon with the drone here too. As we can see from the last time up, we're seeing a lot of bending from Gus and Matty there. Gus doesn't like bending too much. He'll be pushing Matty very quickly into the boat. But they're very soft. But they're just sort of coming back here, and we'll see them probably flick back over soon to just put a nice loose cover on the fleet, I think. They're just starting to hit the pressure in front of them now. There we go, nice tack, Matty running around the front.
Have a look on the radar, Paul. Is there a storm or something brewing over the southwest of Sydney here that's influencing all this?
It sort of feels like it's sucking into something, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know? And when that happens, we'll see it spin around, almost go full left. So here we're on the moon and here on the drone shot as well. And they've just put themselves in a nice loose cover on the Sail Racing. And also, Sail Racing seem to have done a similar thing to the rest of the fleet behind them. So these two are just really trying to consolidate their leads at the moment.
Look, behind us, from that angle there, you got Altus just sniffling away, going opposite to everything these two are doing. So
yeah. But I mean, as they sail them out further into this right-hand side of the course, you limit their options.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So that's what these two are trying to do, is just try and keep on pushing people out to lay so that they don't have options and they've got to follow them in, which is, you know, in these kind of trickier conditions, if you can do that, you know.
But Felix should be throwing through a few tacks at Ruffy, just try and get him on the wrong side of
He should be, yeah.
anything. Like
Yeah.
there's not a lot of traffic out there for him to do too much.
These are the conditions which you didn't want to be sailing against Nathan or Lee Nafton, was it? If
No.
they were behind you, those two here, they'd have you trying to cover them in every single hole on the course.
Oh.
You'd always be on a knock, they're always on a lift.
Yeah, the little maestro.
No. Like,
Hubble will have you believe it was all him that was telling him where to go and what to do.
I was lucky enough to get coached by Naffo when I was a young bloke, and listening to him talk about those kind of things, I just went, oh, I don't know what's happening.
You can see Felix standing up in the boat, looking around, trying to look for options of anything.
It just looks like in front of him, there's just this puff that's just sitting there that it just hasn't come down.
I think it's that, you know, that puff. Some days it's just
Yeah.
it's just there. It's just there. You know, it doesn't quite get to you, but you know they're almost out to the lay here, so
Yeah.
not much they can do.
And I mean, once they've come out this far, out this way, you're almost going to get a bit of a wind shadow under South Head as well.
Look how far
Yeah.
forward the crew are there on Moonan. For any of the young blokes at home, there is a lesson 101 for you when the breeze lightens off.
And you can just see they like to keep one of them a little bit more stable. But you'll see if they do get two out on wire, they'll start bending together. But then once someone's in, it's that transition to getting onto the wire on these boats that.
And the symmetry Matt and Gus have got together is a very good one.
Hey, I got to say with Matty, Gus is a bit nicer to him. I just used to knee him in the back of the knee.
They're out on wire.
Yeah.
These ones aren't.
So here,
And there's the difference of the haves and have-nots.
and in these boats, once you get two on wire, you really feel the thing jump out of the water, and the difference in speed is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can see here now, Sail Racing's just getting them on, but they're still in that little bit of a bend. They've got a nice puff coming onto their right-hand side now. We'll just see them extend out. They're really juiced up the bottom of that main as much as they can. And as you see, when this pressure comes in, they start getting on those little rollers underneath them as well, and then the height comes back into the boat. Everything. There's a lot of depth in their jib there, isn't it?
Mm. There is a distance between first and second. It's probably about the same distance to the top mark, right, Paulie?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, these two have done well protecting this right-hand side, I think.
Yeah.
We
and
can
the-
sort of see the Sail Racing's jumped out a tiny bit.
Look who's sniffling behind, not on camera, but who's sniffling behind the camera cat. His red pump's red.
Yeah.
So they'll be close to third at this top mark.
I think they'll be very close. So we can see here now on the Sutek, they're back swinging hard now.
Moonan. You cash for comments for Steve-O, or what's going on, mate?
Definitely.
We'll help get your pay rise. How's that for a deal?
We'll probably give it to the young blokes on the Sutek instead of me.
No, we'll talk nicely to him on your behalf.
So, so
I'm not mistaken, if these are the leaders in the 13s, which again aren't on screen, I think you'll find Botany Scaffold is in the lead, but there's Altus just crossing Sutek.
So the Sutek's gotten back into them a tiny bit down there. just once they clear South Head out here, the pressure just does become a little bit more consistent. You've almost got to work your way up that right-hand side, though, to connect the dots.
There's
The
about the 13s. There's Bartley Constructions.
Taylor Sprigget. So I think in the 13 race for them, I think they're sitting, there's a little bit of a split. I hope that these 13s know there was a change of course.
Yep, they're tacking over, and in the background there you'll see Botany Scaffold just under Centre Point Tower. That's we're pretty certain that's the lead for the 13 footers. So, well done to them.
I think it should be quite nice. We're going to have, you know, they're up near the front of this fleet, but they're going to, of the 16s, and I think they'll be running down to the finish as well. Yeah. Downwind. So, just to fill in everyone, we've got, I think the 13s as well here, they're going around the top mark. They'll be going down to their finish, the leaders, with the 16s are also on their last run down as well. So the Botany there's in good pressure.
Here comes across, a little bit wider with Bartley here.
They look like they've extended away a tiny bit there, haven't they?
Yeah.
They were bow to bow before. Except, you know, the Bartley, I believe, is heading in the right direction. This right-hand side just keeps on paying, so.
Yeah, well, you think, you know, the Botany Scaffold would have flopped over and gone back because you got Ebix right on their hip as well.
Yeah.
So there's Bartley.
Yeah, but the Bartleys put themselves in a nice position, give themselves a little bit of leverage. So if they get a little bit of a right-hander there, they might be able to squeeze back in front.
There's our second place in the 16 footers, Sail Racing.
Good 200 metres off the top mark. Couple more tacks to get themselves in there. That's that 13 battle in the background happening. So you can still see there's just that little bit of bend coming, and then they're stretching back out.
Moonan just around the top mark. Where's that guy sailing off to, Paulie? On his little catamaran off to New Zealand, is he?
He's going on an adventure to some islands.
Yes, yeah.
So we can see the moon and they're just cruising down on starboard. They'll probably go out another 100 metres like they have done, line themselves up almost with the old top mark, get themselves back into middle head and then a nice easy run into the finish from there. I think that,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
as we can see there, that's the Moonin on the right hand side, and the Sail Racing still heading over the starboard ley line. So I think they've extended their lead out to a couple of minutes here up this last one.
Absolutely. It's
Just nice, consistent, taking the good side of the course. Nice jibe there from the boys too. We'll sort of come over here and follow them down and see how hard Matt Sander actually is working after I talked him up earlier.
still got a little while to go to sink him, mate.
I know, I'm trying as hard as I can. There you go. That's all. that big movement from Matty. There's him ripping the chute to get himself down those waves. And once they're down, then we just see Gus do a little bit of a bend just to try and soak away as much as they can to get that BMG as high as they can. For me here, I'd actually be pushing quite hard. There's a nice puffer above them. You can sort of see Gus looking at it now. It's probably incoming in 3, 2, 1, and you'll watch them here just get deeper and
There's
deeper.
Racing on the split screen going around the top mark now.
It's a very nice lead from the boys here. You can see on the Moonin too, they do it slightly differently, where a lot of the times downwind the sheet hand does hold it, but Ruffy likes to do it himself because he thinks that Gus gets too tangled in it when he hands it back to him.
Joe did the same.
I did. It's actually comes from me because I just didn't want to touch ropes downwind.
Got spiders on it.
But I mean, it does give the skipper a little bit more feel as well with the waves and getting a whack around it and stuff like that. So it also just stops messy handoffs.
Yep. Have to put a nail file in Gussie's trap belt. There's a Sail Racing
Sail
chasing
Racing.
hard, just about to jibe.
Jibing back in.
Great jibe.
Very nice jibe. See Paulie running around the front there as well.
You just see Gus constantly looking around, feeding information into Ruffy.
Yeah. So the way that these boys work for the downwind kind of stuff is Gus will call the majority of the tactics downwind as well, also the pressure coming into the boat, and that just lets the other two really focus on getting the thing going as fast as they can.
Yep.
So, whereas going upwind, I think Matty does a lot of the short-term pressure for them, and Ruffy gives an overall strategy each time up and gets Gus and Matty to execute it for him. To the set. Sail Racing look like they're coming down with a little bit more pressure than the Moonin has out in front.
Yeah, the Moonin sort of looks like they're stuck between two.
Yeah, but I mean, they've also just got the ferry go through in front of them as well. So, I mean, you don't really want to drive back into that. You want to cross it at right angles. Try and get through that wash as quickly as you can.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering whether it was a Sabo thing with the Turner brothers holding the...
No, it's because they don't trust their sheet heads, mate.
Oh, that's fine. Take him off the Christmas card list.
Well, the Moonin boys drive a bit differently to some of the other guys as well, where it's more of the Belmont style.
Forward hand.
The forward hand jives it, and Gus just runs his weight all the way through. So, you know, him not holding it just lets him just really worry about his weight through the jibes as well.
That's not bad. Hasn't got to touch a sheet and doesn't have to touch the spinnaker sheet. That's even better.
I set up a good system for him, didn't I?
You could have let me know.
Mate, sheet hands on Ruffy's boats only touch 2 ropes, a tack line and a main sheet. And sometimes when it's real fresh, you don't even have to pull the tack line out when you sail with Matty. He does it all for you.
You know, I used to like those days when you just get it all.
But they're just constantly searching for pressure at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, it is very, very, very light down here, but more than enough of a lead, one would think, to
I think
lock this one away.
I think we're going to see them here just try and soak down, hit the pin as close as they can because it's the closest to the club, and shoot their way through.
That'll put them on, with this win, we'll put them on 6 points. And they...
So the Moonin will be looking pretty good after this. Their races today is going to be a 2-2-1 and another 1. They're looking pretty nice, aren't they? I mean, as we said, we expect the Typhoon to get average points in this race. However, they do have previously a DNF, which may impact them a little bit. But I mean, it just gives them a little bit more to play for in the further races coming through because it has a result on all of them.
This bloke beeping his on with his Yankee flag. He's nearly run over a 13 behind us, but anyway, he's back to the mooning.
So, is the blue mark the finish, Jimmy? Did you read your sailing instructions?
I give up on what marks what anymore. It's all changed.
Because, yeah, I think it is that blue mark. We'll see the boys just try and soak down here. We've got the boys on the drone trying to get us in here as close as he can. It's really nice footage. So they've got another 50 metres to get themselves through the pin. Nice little bit of pressure. You can see the start boat there in the background. Nice win for the boys. Would have been interesting to see, you know, the Typhoon against them in this, especially how they've been performing. We sort of missed out on that, unfortunately, but
No, it was a great effort by these boys.
they did well. They extended it away.
Second and final, first 13 coming down. Nothing there finishing.
So we're just on one of the 13s here, just struggling to get up to the gate, I believe. So here's Sail Racing, currently in second on screen. About to jibe in. Another nice down-speed jibe from the boys there.
And there's the Sutek in the background in fourth. Currently third place.
Well, I think that Red Pump's red boat's going to have a little bit to say about that, as we can see in the background up there as well. I think we'll stay here and watch the Sail Racing. You've done a good job. They're probably 100 off the. Just getting a nice bit of pressure on the Sail Racing here to get them down to the finish.
No, they're really good at picking the shifts, these guys. So, you know, they're just one little misjudgment of picking this left turn mark instead of the right turn mark is the difference there today for these guys. But
Big time.
you know, you can't knock them for their effort.
I think, as we sort of alluded to earlier with these guys too, they were very much so up the front of this fleet, especially at state national titles. I think they almost cleaned up a state title a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But I think they all took a little bit of a step back in the last year and a half, and they're coming down and enjoying having a good sail with their mates, and not loading it up as much as they used to. So this is the battle for third on screen here. Red Pumps red, we're following in. Behind them we can see the white chute of the Sutek, which has just jibed in front of the Altus. I think it's very tight between Sutek and Altus here, isn't it? I would have liked to have seen the young boys on the Sutek maybe push a bit harder into Altus there, just to try and really give him a bit more gas. But if they get a nice little bit of pressure here, they should be able to soak down over the top. But, I mean, the most impressive one for me out of this, Jimmy, is how these Red Pumps reds come through.
They're lightning in this lighter stuff. They're quick in the windy stuff. So
I mean, I don't know how small. Is it Jesse or Tyler? This is Tyler on this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jansen. I don't know how small he is, but I mean, Jackson's got a bit of size to him these days. The sheet hand's not the smallest, so to do so well in those kind of conditions is nice. So you can see here the Red Pumps, they're just trying to roll over the Altus here. The Sutek's made a bit of a clean break in front. They've got a free rate line into the finish.
I'll be happy with that.
They'll be super happy with that.
Third.
Do a little bit of work during the week, come out, get a third. These are their conditions that I think they sort of target as well. You know, this downrange stuff. And then
There they are, cuddling.
they're through. And now back here, this is super close. We can't. I mean, you're gonna have to be
You
right
have to
on.
say outer centre
Yeah,
pumps
yeah.
there, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I mean, it's a good race for all three of them, I think. The Altus came from nowhere and got back up there. They'll be a bit disappointed on that last run, but they've done very well.
Yeah. What's that? Third, fourth, fifth across the line.
Fifth across the line. And then we've got next coming in.
Probably
We've got
Botany.
Botany Access on
Yeah, they-
screen here. And it's going to be tight with them with Cunningham, so we're sort of further out to the left-hand side of the course.
Chris Thomas, Mr. Number 6.
Is that another one for him?
Well, last year it was 6 just about that was his constant, so until tickets jumped on the hill.
Oh, and then they got their thirds, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think they jagged a few with tickets when he was steering last year, didn't they? Tickets likes to bring his A-grade crew in sometimes too, doesn't he? I mean, last week he got Brent on board with
Well,
him.
it's not hard, it's brother-in-law, right? Christmas is coming up. You sort of
Oh,
don't
man.
want an awkward moments.
I think Brent was trying to slow a few boats down lately because he's getting the phone call a bit too much.
That's what I'd be doing.
I gave it a red hot go on the fire stopping the other day.
The best part is you put your best show on. Like, that's what I would have done, so that you're not getting the call back, mate.
So here we are, the Botany getting followed in by the Cunninghams. And it has sort of the gaps after this through the fleet. They've kind of extended out a little bit, haven't they? A few.
Yeah, we've got a really tight race here in the 13s, which we'll jump onto in a sec.
So there's Botany getting themselves across the line.
Well done, 6 for them.
Nicely done. And then we've got the Cunninghams. They'll probably jibe over here and cross the line as well.
Well done to Cunningham's. Here's another tight little battle on screen now, Paulie, with, I think that's the fire stopping.
And is that the brewery, Capital Brewing?
Capital Brewing, they've come right back into it, haven't they?
I mean, this is quite tight here with a few of the other ones as well. So what would your game plan here be if you're on the fire truck, Jimmy?
Not panic.
Not panic?
Not panic.
They got another jibe to come in. Did you want to jibe first or second?
Well, you don't want to get, right there in that instance where the mark was, Jess should have just thrown a jibe at them right then and there. Could have panicked them into jibing straight into the mark, the mark, which is no longer a mark of the course, but...
See, I think the fire stopping did really well by making them sail a higher line there. The Capital Brewing, if they watch it back, they should have been thinking a bit further back and trying to soak almost down below them and then doing a Simo jibe and giving them a little bit of bad air there. There's going to be a bit of action here. There's a little bit of karate happening there on the bottom of the bar.
So, fire stopping, Capital Brewing, and Red Pumps.
And the orange coat.
So here we're just trying to get the guys to come over. We've got the Bartley here, which is in a tight race for the winning the 13s race. So Bartley's the furthest out this way, but then we've got the Evix just off screen to the left. There we go. We've got them all there now.
And
Evix
Botany
is the other
Scaffold.
blue chute, and the Botany Scaffold. The Botany Scaffold coming into the favoured end of the line here too. I think I like their position. So here we go. Bartley coming back at them. An easy cross for the Botany.
They're going to look at jiving there.
Yeah. Here they go. It's like Jimmy's got a direct line to them. It's a nice job there too. Very well done. So, Botany.
Well done to the
first. Well
Botany
done.
Scaffold girls. Champion effort.
Because the Bartley put a bit of pressure on them on that last lap and they managed to stay cool and get themselves through.
That's the first win for the Botany Scaffolds in the 13, so it's
Puts a bit of pressure on the 16, do you reckon?
one happy father
Yeah.
in Dion Hart, that's for sure. Bartley Construction second, well done to them, and Ebix a very close third. So, very tight racing there again, Paulie in the 13s, which is great to see. Those kids have come a long, long way with this mentoring thing that the Commodore insisted had to happen at Manly, and all the 16 guys embraced it, so it's good to see. Look at this for a tight finish. Musto, Southerly, Imey, employment hero.
How do you think Doz is feeling, Jimmy?
He'll be fine. He's always a happy camper.
So the Army's got a new boat coming soon too as well, doesn't it?
I believe so. And then you got the fluid crossed. So something's happened to the shebang because they were in front of fluid. There's a shebang just on screen now, setting the spinnaker.
I don't think you'll wipe the smile off Dave Burkett's face the way that they've snuck back in front of the shebang here.
Well, beer bets are all sorted, aren't they?
Yeah, I think this is the first one. Fluid's taken off them in a little bit as well. So we're on. This is shebang here. Bit of brotherly love happening.
And now they're going to miss the finish line.
Oh. It just hasn't been out stay today, has it?
No. Go back to bed, climb out the other side. The Bartley Construction 16 sneaks in just in front of them, in the back of screen.
Nicely done.
All right. Well, Paulie, thanks again for joining us on the Mighty Camera Cat.
Thank you for having me. Nice day out here.
Mate, always a pleasure to have you. Always a good laugh. We were the right up every single work.
Oh,
straight up the middle. We did perfect. So thanks for all the viewers for tuning in. Don't forget, if you like what you're seeing, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you all again on the 17th of December here at Sale Media TV. And thanks to the awesome team on board here today. We had a few little tech issues, but hopefully they weren't too obvious for you guys at home. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the 17th of the 12th. Thanks very much for tuning in.
Bye.